All right, guys, I hope your Saturday is going fantastic. I wanted to make a quick little update video on where I'm sitting with Linux. My deadline with Windows 10 is fast approaching. End of life, no more security updates, plus Microsoft has turned into a Gestapo of privacy breaches with Windows 11. There is no way I'm going to have a Windows company tell me I have to buy a new computer to run their OS when my computer is still very powerful. But anyway, what version of Linux did I decide on? Well, guys, it's been a crazy week of consuming videos. I'm not going to lie. There is so many videos on switching to Linux. What's the best distros? What's the best flavors of Ubuntu? What's Debian all about? What's that CachyOS about? What's the gaming versions? The list just goes on and on and on. And of course, every video is tempting you to just go with Arch. Because if you can't do Arch, you shouldn't be doing Linux. They don't say that, but that's the undercurrent. It's almost like every Arch video is just challenging you to do it. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to take you through the journey of all of the distros I've been considering. And then I'm going to tell you what I settled on and why I settled on it. All right, let's get started. Okay, the first version that I kind of considered doing was Pop! OS. You know, if you Google gaming distros for Linux, Pop! OS is definitely going to come up. It's a manufacturer of computer technology hardware, and they have their own kind of version of Linux. And it looks really good. But to me, it was a little bit too much Mac visuals for me, and I don't like that kind of environment. I've worked with Macs before, and it just never clicked. So I kind of went past that pretty quick. And then, of course, old stable Mint. I really like the look of Mint, especially the Cinnamon edition. And I actually downloaded it and installed it on the USB that I had in my last video, but I never pulled the pin and used it. There was just something about it that wasn't getting me very excited. I don't know if it's just the look of it or the fact that if I install it, I'm kind of putting a Windows clone in front of myself, not really learning a lot to do with Linux. So I was like, I don't know. I was kind of like, why am I even bothering doing that? And I kind of hummed back and forth and watched a lot of videos comparing Linux Mint to other distros, and it always is highly recommended. So if you're looking for like a comfortable distro to get into, I think Cinnamon Mint might be your flavor. However, I will say this, one of my concerns is security. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot more security risks out there today than there was back in the days when we were using like Windows 7 or even Windows 10. So security is a big thing for me. We're going to get into that. So of course, after looking at Mint, lots of other distributions were recommended. For example, Fedora. There was that one YouTuber, I can't remember her name. She's an awesome lady. She did some videos on her journey with Linux. Actually, let's look her up right now. Hold on. Here we go, this lady right here. Switch and Click. Awesome videos. Really enjoyed them. Okay. She started out with Mint, and then I think she moved to Fedora. And I was looking at Fedora with the KDE Plasma desktop, and I'm like, that looks like something I can sink my teeth into. However, one of the things that I wasn't too sure about is all of these flavors like Fedora and Kubuntu, which by the way is a Plasma desktop version of Ubuntu, we're basically saying, you know, it's really important for you to verify your ISO file before installing it. And I looked into how to do this, and yes, you can do it fairly straightforward from the Windows desktop. It's not that difficult. I didn't bother trying it, but all the videos that I watched on it were pretty straightforward. You can use some command line codes or I think PowerShell lines and get the code that you're looking for to verify your ISO file. But it kind of got me thinking from a security perspective. Why should I have to verify an ISO file from an official distribution download page? There's just something about that doesn't feel right. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, hey, this is really important. You should know how to do this. But I'm going to come back with that argument and say, no, I don't. And I shouldn't. If you want to make a stable, secure product for people, that should not be part of the process to install it. Now, I get it. It's probably been like that for decades. Whatever. I'm okay. So then I was looking at alternatives. And of course, I landed on Ubuntu. Now, the good thing about Ubuntu is that you can actually make it look like all of the other distros for the most part. If I wanted to, I could run some theme packs on Ubuntu and make it look like Mint Cinnamon without really changing the core installation of Ubuntu, or the kernel, or whatever they call it. Okay? Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, come on, Grizzle. Like, I mean, just check your ISO file and get on the bandwagon here with Fedora. But no, I had to look a little bit deeper. I've been a lifelong Windows user, and Windows has, as much complaints as I have about Windows, Windows has kept me safe for the most part when it comes to malware and viruses. I used to run Norton antivirus back in the day, but it was such a system hog that I just pretty much moved to exclusively relying on Windows Defender. And you know what? Windows Defender did a great job. And you know what? I didn't have to verify any files from Microsoft before I installed them. So that is kind of the experience I'm looking for. I'm looking for a stable, secure way to use my computer that's highly customizable, that gives me the freedom from people breaching my privacy. And I think Ubuntu might be the call here. The LTS, the long-term support version of Ubuntu. So I looked into it a little bit more, had some chats with some AIs, and this is what Gemini said at the end of the day. I asked it, are there any security benefits from just using straight up Ubuntu compared to smaller community distros? Because some of the other distros like Linux Mint Cinnamon have 11 devs working on them. Ubuntu has over 1,000. Gemini took a little bit of time and said, yes, there are significant security benefits to using a large mainstream distribution like Ubuntu compared to many smaller community-driven distributions. This is one of the most important factors for a user's safety, and it's often overlooked. I'm going to read this whole thing for you. The security of a Linux distribution is not just about the kernel itself. It's about the entire ecosystem built around it and the process for handling vulnerabilities. Here's a key breakdown of the key advantages that Ubuntu has. Dedicated professional security teams. Obviously, Ubuntu is owned by Canonical, and that company behind Ubuntu has a dedicated professional security team. This is kind of like Microsoft Windows Defender. On the other hand, small community distros, this is what really stood out to me, guys. These projects often rely on a small group of volunteers, which is great. That's very admirable. I get it. Their ability, however, to respond and patch vulnerabilities depends on the availability and expertise of a few people. This can lead to delays in patching, leaving you vulnerable for long periods of time. And I'm sorry, if you need your desktop to do banking, if you need your desktop to do professional emails, if you need your desktop to do important stuff that's important to you, leaving you vulnerable for long periods of time is not an option, guys. It's just not an option. Now, I get it. The smaller distros, they look nice. They function really good. They have great teams assigned to them, dedicated volunteers. But in this day and age, with the amount of hacking going on and the amount of ransomware going on and the amount of malware attacks going on, hey, this is a huge, huge part of the puzzle. So I landed on Ubuntu. And then I looked into Ubuntu and had some chats on the AI about what I can do with Ubuntu. I can make Ubuntu look like a lot of other distros by using theme packs. I wouldn't say I would like get the KDE Plasma experience because I would have to basically make my Ubuntu bloated and slow it down. So yeah, I got to let go of Plasma for a little while. I was kind of interested in it. But you know what? Security is more important for me. So this is where I'm at, guys. I haven't pulled the pin yet. Haven't made the ISO. I've downloaded it. It's in my downloads. I'm going to burn the ISO after this video. And you know what? The next Linux video might just be Linux on my desktop, making the video on that desktop. Because once I leave Windows, guys, like I said in my last video, I'm not ever going back. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Take care, stay classy, and God bless. And leave your comments below. I know I said some things that might ruffle some feathers here, but I do value your opinion, and I do read all the comments, and I appreciate the subscriptions. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope tomorrow is even better than today. Let's go.